Today on the Rumors Comedy Cast, Jordan Welwood talks to Phil Hanley about why Jerry Seinfeld hates playing colleges and when it's okay to physically assault an audience member. For more episodes, visit rumorscomedyclub.com and follow us at Rumors Comedy.
Welcome to Rumors Comedy Cast, episode 23. We got Phil Hanley, just got into town. Welcome to Winnipeg.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. So it's the first night of your run here.
Yep.
How was the show?
It was good. Tuesday night, it was fun.
Yeah, Tuesday night show.
I'm surprised how many people come out here on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, like most clubs aren't even open for Tuesdays, so
no,
there's nothing else going on in town, so they came down to see you. So
that was passive aggressive.
Passive, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else to do, so they came to see me. That's what you said.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, I like to take jabs.
Hurt my feelings.
See where you stand.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of podcast. So, when was the last time you were in Winnipeg?
I thought it was fairly recently, but Tyler told me that it was 2 years ago. It's like 2 years and 2 months or something like that.
Cool. So you've been busy.
Yes, I've been busy. Yeah.
Nice, good stuff. And you recently moved to New York City.
Yep. It's been a few years, but yeah, I live there.
Everything's going good.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
Have you done stand up in New York?
I've never done stand up in New York. My sister just moved there. So
oh, you told me that. Yeah, that's great.
So I want to plan
you
weekend and try and get.
Does she have a place?
She does. Yeah, I think
Where
she
does
lives
she
in
live?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay,
Yeah,
cool, man.
it's like hipster central.
Yeah, a lot of comedians live in Brooklyn.
Yeah, cool. So is it like where would you suggest I go?
To do spots?
Yeah.
That's tricky because if you come, I do a monthly show at Caroline's.
Oh, cool.
Called Phil Hanley and Friends.
Wicked.
That you would qualify as a friend and be more than welcome to do.
Beautiful. Now we have it on tape.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have you. Otherwise, it's tough. Unless you have it's tough.
It's tough. You got to know people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
so many comics.
For you going out there, did you already kind of have like a roster of buddies that you knew?
I knew one. I had met Rory Scovel.
Oh, he's unreal. Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
I'd only met him once, and that was the only person I knew in New York when I moved there.
So was it like? Do you think pretty big hill to climb to get on stuff?
Oh yeah, it's brutal. I had done what had I done? I had done some TV stuff in the States, and everyone's done TV stuff in the States.
Oh really? Yeah.
It's really it takes a long time.
Crazy. So originally from Vancouver.
Yes.
And you came up through that scene. How long were you there for before you?
I did stand up in Vancouver for almost 7 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And do you still like to get back there? Is it like going back home?
Yeah, totally. I did last week. I did a Comedy Central special in Boston.
Oh, cool.
A week ago today. And the weekend before that, I went home just to Vancouver. It was kind of a last minute thing. I was working on the set, and I was working on it, and I was like, you know what? I just want to go to Vancouver and work on it. So yeah, I'm still really connected with. Nice. I still have lots of friends. Some of my closest friends that are comics still live in Vancouver.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you proud Canadian.
Very proud. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. I love. No, it's funny because I love living in the States, and my goal when I started comedy was to do comedy in the States. In fact. Because I did my special last week and I'm starting new material and all that stuff, I brought the DVD on the road, the comedian DVD. Have you seen that, the Seinfeld DVD?
Yeah, the documentary.
Yeah. So I saw that at the theater, and that's what inspired me to do stand up.
Really?
Yeah. And why? I don't know how I would segue. Anyways, what was the question?
Oh, we were just talking about Vancouver and getting back there to like.
Oh, right. Yeah. So when I was home. At my folks' place last weekend, so it was like 10 days ago, or whatever. I picked up the DVD and I have it here to watch while I'm in Vancouver or while I'm in Winnipeg to inspire me to.
That's awesome. Yeah, the doc was like. There's a few comedians of comedy was the one I would watch like every week when I first started. Like that's why I wanted to get into it. But what is it about that movie that got you so interested?
I loved it because, for one of it's. The greatest things is the DVD extras with Colin Quinn and Jerry, just like.
Oh, I haven't seen those.
Oh my goodness! Oh, you're in for such a treat.
Okay, yeah.
Quinn, So it's
He's unreal.
it's like one of two of the greatest comics ever. Just like buddies, just like
shooting the shit.
Yeah, about the film.
Yeah.
Also, it was just inspiring. They're in the cellar and they're doing all this stuff that. It just looks so cool.
Yeah.
So much. It just looks so cool.
Fans of like Louis like that too when you watch the show. Like if you're like a comedian or a fan of comedy, you're just like, oh, they're hanging out. Like they're just hanging out after the show.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch for some reason because these guys that you look up to.
Yeah, and you hang out after the show, but the way the cellar is set up is just set up so perfectly, and other clubs have tried to emulate it, but if you're sitting at that table, it's really like a magical place. Like it's a great place just to chill, and it's separated from the show, but it's at the you can't hear the show.
Yeah,
just upstairs. Yeah, it's great.
2 different bars.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit before, just speaking of Seinfeld. He's like in the news a lot lately with. Basically, I think what happened was like Chris Rock and some of these other big name comics made some comments that college students were like way too PC and they don't want to do those shows anymore. And then someone asked Jerry Seinfeld about it, and then his comments are some now like everyone's pointing at him right now. But
first off,
yeah, it's like kind of like that. It's like
okay. First off, it's a huge problem if Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld are saying we don't want to go to a college. They're deprived. Like it's if they've created an atmosphere where those two guys who are at the top of their field of a very difficult, like they're such a great influence. You hear two guys that have just had so much success, work so hard, become masters at what they do, and they're like, those kids are being deprived. But you don't want to do jokes for people that grown.
No,
you don't. And I have a thing in my act. I'm extremely dyslexic. I was in special ed when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Some audiences, I'll talk about it, and I'm telling about my life. I was in special ed.
Yeah.
I can talk about it, and they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "What are you going about?"
Are they assuming that you're like making that for the case of a joke? Like you kind of.
I don't know. I mean, if that's they shouldn't be allowed to be walking around the streets. They're not safe if they're that. Like I'm sincerely talking about it. There's no way that I'm.
Yeah.
And I actually. Start by saying I actually like there's no I think they hear special ed and they hear a punchline and the thing that kills me is as a kid everyone loved jokes about special ed when they were telling them to me when I was in special ed. Now the same people are in the audience and they're like, oh no, we can't talk about that. I'm like, so you make fun of me when I'm a kid and now you don't even give me the opportunity to do it myself. It's so I mean in all comics I've experienced things where they're just you can just tell if an audience is just shutting down because you've said something that
trigger word.
Yeah, and they're just. But I mean, I think it's so commendable that Seinfeld would say that. I don't know the circumstances that he came out and said that, why he said it, but it's so great because he doesn't need to do. All his shows are sold out. No. All his shows are sold out with people that want to hear everything. Like he does.
They hang on every word.
Yeah,
yeah.
So it's so cool that he would say that, and of course, there's a backlash of. From what I hear, I haven't read all the stuff. That's a big benefit of being dyslexic. Is it's so much effort for me to read. I'm not going to go through and read, someone's blog. But wow, I think it's really commendable that he doesn't need to do that.
No,
he's sitting pretty. He's fine.
It's almost like the Rolling Stones being like, it's not fun to do rock and roll here because nobody gets it or they're not into it or they don't. It's like.
Yeah,
people don't understand. Like he's a clean comic to begin with, so the fact that he would have to, stop and like actually make a comment about it.
Yeah, I think it's so cool. And then I don't know the specifics, but I've just, I was really in my head. I was really focused on putting my half hour together and working on my special.
Yeah,
that was happening kind of at the same time, and I was like, I'm just trying to figure this out. So I didn't really, and then. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like kind of uneducated about what exactly went down.
Yeah, but for you specifically, like your experiences and over your career, have you noticed a change like in recent years? Just doing shows then?
I don't. You know what? I don't know if I've noticed a change. I'm still clean. I think I now would say something that someone who doesn't understand how a joke works would be offended. I feel like maybe now it's a little bit. I'm certainly not like edgy or whatever, but I do say things now that. Might again, someone who doesn't understand how jokes work would be offended, maybe. But more so, I mean, I have friends that I think it is. I certainly think it's heading in that direction. Just from the back, like I don't understand how if Seinfeld says crowds are too PC. How is someone who's never performed in their life an expert on Seinfeld's been doing it for 35 years. If he says that, who's going to be... No, they're not. What do you know?
It's the same people that are like, this guy should be fired. It's like, you're not his boss.
Yeah.
Like, you're
not anyone's boss.
No.
You're not, you're most likely.
Yeah.
Like, or you, like, it's... if you were a boss, you would probably have more to do than write the blog.
Yeah.
Like, you have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many opinions flying in it. Like, and it's like, I don't know, bloggers. It's like, you don't want to be like, it's like they go after comedy. It's like, why are you going after comedy? Why are you picking apart this? It's like, you're clearly not a fan of it because you wouldn't understand, like, otherwise you'd understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was a big thing, and I don't want to say his name just because it's kind of blown over for him. But there was a thing, a friend of mine did some jokes that if someone was offended by, and they wrote a whole blog about it. But in the blog, they actually said, and it ended up getting a fair amount of notice, attention or whatever. But then it was one thing if Louis said it. You're like, no, it doesn't work like. I mean, Louis great. Louis is one of the best. But you can't. It's either you don't get it. Like it's just. I don't know.
They're starting to attack him now too. Like in a way, it's like it's weird. It's like almost like bigger you get, people kind of try and pick away at it, and it's like
I just can't imagine the arrogance that it would be like, say, someone like Louis or Jerry Seinfeld. I'm on first name basis. No, they were like Louis C.K., Jerry Seinfeld, where there's no denying they're an expert.
Yeah.
But you're gonna go up and like I don't know. Like there's so many fields of that I don't understand.
Yeah.
I wouldn't dare be like, hey, scientist, or hey, anything.
Yeah.
Hey, nutritionist, you shouldn't put this and that on a plate. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And the flip side, I guess, to this whole thing is it's like I have been at open mics where you see people that are new and they're just saying horrible shit because they think they have this free ticket.
Yeah.
But like that's how they learn.
Yes.
And it's like you should know enough to know that where you're at and what you're watching, and not go home and be like, comedy is, ruined.
Yeah.
And or this person, that's their act. Like, know who you're gonna go see.
But
like,
let's be honest. I mean, we've both done open mics. There's only 6 people that like. You know what I mean? It's not like.
Like that's kind of where you hear the stuff that is just, and it's also just not funny, which is the bottom line. And that's what Seinfeld's kind of, every time he talks he's like, well, is it funny? Like he was getting in trouble, I think, because he didn't have enough diversity on his comedians and cars shows, and he's like, I'm just picking people who I know who are funny. So it's like, that's the beauty part about comedy, is it's kind of transcends all that.
Well, it should. I just can't imagine, like, comics are trying to tell jokes, and I guess if you don't think it's funny, I don't know. Like, I feel like if a song doesn't move you to dance, do you object? Like,
there's a song where I'm like, I hate it, but then I just change the radio station, right? It's like, and then just leave. Or don't watch it.
I just don't. And like, part of comedy is the element of surprise, and then if you're going to give everyone guidelines, there's not going to be jokes anymore.
Yeah, it'll be prescribed government jokes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Handed down from Parliament.
Hopefully, something will change. Or these people clearly don't like comedy.
No.
Like, okay, so Chris Rock is like, college audience. I'm really sorry. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
It's all good, man.
If college audiences don't, I mean, Chris Rock, he's like one of the best ever.
Yeah.
And if you're offended by one of the best ever, comedy's not for you. It's just not for you. I'm sure you should go. I'm sure there's intramural. What is it?
Intramural?
Intramural dodgeball and there's other things you can do on campus that night.
Yeah, it's true.
Who would you like? Whoever a famous chef is, if you like tries food and you're like, no.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you just don't have the palate. Like, it's not for you. That's fine.
That's a better analogy than the music one, for sure.
No. So I don't
fair
know.
enough. Well, then, speaking of, outrage, we usually ask comics that come on, like, what was the worst gig? Because those are usually funny stories. Or sometimes they're sad.
You gave me a heads up that would be a question that's being asked.
Yeah.
And it is a blur of. There was a lot of bad gigs. I recently did a gig, and I was in St. Louis, and someone got on stage. A woman got on stage. I started the show. I sometimes start very casually and just chat with the audience a little bit before I go into my material. I'll just try to riff off the top. And I was doing that, and I was about to go to the first joke, and then a guy was still talking, and I mean, I thought it politely, but I was like, maybe I was a little curt. I was like, yeah, you know, what you're saying is no longer important. Tried to go into my joke. And I was jokingly saying that.
Yeah.
And the audience laughed. And then all of a sudden I heard like, he is too important. And I could tell someone was upset. And I want to entertain people for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I stopped and said, yeah, I know I was half joking. You're a club.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's very important, but now I'm going to pursue my dream. So you just sit tight.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, a woman just got on stage, and she was much bigger than me.
Jesus.
And she just stood, and I mean, just from being a kid, you can tell when someone is standing beside you and when someone is being like
a presence of
contemplating, am I gonna hit this guy or what? Like she just stood there, and the door guy, who I was finally like, if I worked here, I would. You know,
yeah, don't come on.
Yeah,
stage,
I would remove
kind
people.
of a rule.
But in the door guy's defense, it was like a woman on stage. I'm sure he was just baffled. What am I supposed to do? Because he can't like.
Was she bigger than him too? He's like, I don't want to go.
She was big, and certainly bigger than her husband, who didn't.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, and she was on stage for, and to me it seemed like time kind of stopped.
Were you just telling jokes still, or was it?
No, I was kind of riffing on. I was getting laughs, which I was proud of.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, you can't cower with a woman on stage, or that will definitely get out.
Yeah.
So I just stood there, and I was just kind of riffing on how preposterous it was that she was on stage, and that no one was doing anything. And finally, the door guy came up and got off stage. But I don't know if she had to pay first or whatever. But when I went to start the show again, I looked down and she was still in the audience. She was sitting there.
So she enjoyed the rest of the show.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I would just maybe just get this loose wire completely.
Yeah.
Till they finally they removed her. But then it was really hard to start until I admitted to the audience that I was actually scared.
Kind of rattled.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that was terrifying. What was I supposed to do? And then they kind of got on my side, and it turned out it was. There was like 6 shows that weekend. Yeah, and it turned out it was like the best show of the weekend. Yeah,
like I wish more ladies would hop up on stage.
Yeah, it was crazy because I honestly what would you do if just like a strange woman just punched you?
Yeah,
or pushed you.
Everyone's watching. You can't even you wouldn't be able to do anything.
Yeah, and I had a stopwatch on stage, and I remember looking down and thinking, whatever happens, I can't leave this little area for 43 minutes.
Jeez.
So they find it, and it was fine. But it was crazy.
That's because nobody every comic almost has someone got on stage story, and it hasn't happened to me yet. So I'm like, no, there's no hard fast rule. Like, what did you Ryan, another comic works here. Someone came up and he poked him in the eye, and then the guy kind of just went down and it went away and fixed itself. So now that's the only story I've heard. So now I'm just gonna poke someone in the eye if that happens.
See, I'm so naive because I guess I've evolved to the point where I'm not like an animal that would just roam onto the stage. I honestly, because I've heard stories where guys are of comics, if a guy goes on stage, I'd hit him with a mic stand and I do that. I would be struck 3 or 4 times before I would believe this is actually occurring because I'm on stage. I really feel like it's a safe place. I'm so naive when it comes to attacking a performer. To me it seems so foreign. But so someone came on stage and your friend poked him in the eye?
Yeah, and he came up and I guess he was doing the threatening posture and he just kind of poked him. And I think he poked him Stooges style.
Yeah.
And the guy would kind of hurt his eyes.
That's either
Ryan has some sort of martial arts background.
Okay, because that's either the experience of someone who's been in a lot of fights or watched a lot of Three Stooges.
Yeah. Boink. Yeah.
It's either way. It's either a tough guy or someone who's just I've seen Looney Tunes.
But normally that would you'd think it would escalate, but apparently the guy just got down and left, and I guess that was the end of it.
Wow.
I don't know. So
that's a
your way of dealing with it is probably better.
I consciously was I'm not, because I don't want to be on stage with a stranger. I don't. Actually, it's part of my act. So I close with that, but I don't. I just wanted to get away from this woman. She was aggressive. Her husband was clearly scared of her.
Well,
and
hopefully it doesn't happen this week. You can catch
Phil. Never happened. Yeah, it's never happened.
Phil's gonna be here all week. Don't come on stage. You will get
unless you're invited. So one person will be invited.
Yes,
on most shows,
and you won't get poked. Check him out. He's got a podcast, We Know Nothing Podcast. It's available on iTunes.
It's on iTunes and it's on It's Stand Up New York Labs.
Beauty. Stand Up New York Labs. Phil Hanley at Twitter.
Phil M Hanley at Twitter and Phil M Hanley at Instagram.
Awesome. You can get me at Jordan Welwood with 1L on Twitter, and check out Rumors Comedy Club online, Twitter, all that stuff. Thanks for coming in, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Super funny. Come check out the shows. It's going to be great. Boom.
Cool. Oh, thanks. Oh, cool.
Yeah, we just hit the 20 on the
Oh,
bonus,
cool.
so-
20-minute podcast episode. That's where it's at. I had no idea. Is
Yeah.
it normally like
An hour.
45 minutes? You're like, all right.
Be an angel. What are